The HOA violation notice called my 1952 Ford 8N tractor rusting junk and demanded its removal. It was my father's. Karen and her board stood snickering as I read it. "That eyesore lowers our property values," she said. "Get it off your land." I nodded. "You're right. It's time I moved it." The next morning, I woke up before dawn, a plan brewing in my mind. I hitched the old tractor to a massive manure spreader I'd borrowed from my buddy Jim, a real farmer down the road. With a mischievous grin, I filled that spreader to the brim with the ripest, most pungent manure I could find. The stench was enough to make your eyes water, but I breathed it in like sweet revenge. As the sun peeked over the horizon, I fired up the old Ford. It coughed and sputtered, but eventually roared to life. I patted the steering wheel. "Let's show 'em what you can do, old girl." I set off down the street, the tractor chugging along, pulling its malodorous cargo. As I approached Karen's pristine McMansion, I couldn't help but chuckle. Her perfectly manicured lawn was about to get a whole lot more natural. But fate had other plans. As I passed the narrow street where the HOA board always parked for their weekly coffee meeting, I spotted a row of gleaming luxury vehicles. A cherry-red Porsche, a Range Rover that had probably never seen a speck of mud, and a Mercedes so shiny you could see your reflection in it. Suddenly, as if guided by some higher power of karmic justice, the spreader's mechanism malfunctioned. A tsunami of fresh, fragrant manure erupted from the back, arcing gracefully through the air. Time seemed to slow as I watched that wave of brown gold descend upon the unsuspecting vehicles. The impact was glorious. A cacophony of splats and squelches filled the air as the manure coated every inch of those overpriced status symbols. Windows, windshields, grills, nothing was spared from the onslaught. For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then, the screaming started. Karen burst out of her house, her face as red as her now brown Porsche. "You did that on purpose," she shrieked, her perfectly coiffed hair bouncing with rage. I cut the tractor's engine, the old machine puffing smoke like a dragon after a satisfying meal. "On purpose?" I said, my face a mask of innocence. "This old junk? You saw yourself, it's unreliable. It's a miracle it even started." I gestured at the manure-covered Porsche, trying not to laugh at the way it dripped onto the pavement. "I'd be happy to pay for a car wash. I hear the one on Main Street does a great job for about $12. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. The other HOA board members had gathered now, their faces a mix of horror and fury as they surveyed the damage to their precious vehicles. $12? Sputtered Mr. Johnson, the HOA treasurer. "Do you have any idea how much it's going to cost to clean this abomination?" I shrugged, leaning back in the tractor seat. "Well, I reckon that's the risk you take when you park on a street near farmland. Never know when a tractor might malfunction." I patted the Ford's fender affectionately. "Though I suppose if this old girl is such a hazard, maybe I should keep her in the barn from now on. Wouldn't want any more accidents." The look of defeat on their faces was sweeter than fresh honey. They knew they'd been outplayed. Sure, they could try to prove I'd done it on purpose, but good luck finding a jury in our rural county that would side with them over a farmer protecting his family heirloom. In the end, they had to pay thousands for professional detailing. Some say you can still catch a whiff of odor manure on a hot day when you pass their cars. The tractor stays, proudly displayed on my front lawn, and they never park on that street anymore. As for me, well, I learned a valuable lesson that day. Sometimes the best way to deal with bullies isn't to stoop to their level. It's to rise above them, way above them, preferably in a tractor with a full load of manure at the ready.